Hello, everybody. I'm back. Oh, hey guys. Oh, still, we're at mom's. The lighting is different. As it's a little bright. You know, it's funny too. I can't use my good camera. I forgot the cords in DC, so I had to buy new cords that are coming tomorrow. Thank you, Paula. Anyway, had to buy new cords because I can't use my microphone. I can't use my camera that I want. I was a little discombobulated. Anyway, welcome back, guys. Let me get TikTok rolling. Excuse me here. My allergies are going insane today. Absolutely insane. I even did my inhaler. So I know some of you are going to be very excited about that because you love when I do my inhaler. Hold on, adjusting my eye. There we go. All right. Ooh. All right. Go live. Go live. All right. I may even turn a little more lighting on my. I don't know whether I will or not. Let's see. I don't know if it needs it. Maybe. Maybe. All right. Here's TikTok. 4 subscription presents. Excellent. Oh, that's good, actually. Oh, will it let me give them out? Anyway, hey guys, there you are. Thank you, Rowan. Appreciate it. I know. What do you do? Specific users. Wait, what is this? You have 4. They'll be deducted first when you check out. Oh, okay, I see. Anyway, hey, Amanda. Hey, Amanda and Amanda. That's very funny. And hey, where are we? Oh, there's TikTokers. Hey, TikTokers. Anyway. Hello, all. Yeah, so it's been a shitty few days. But I figured I wanted to get back to seeing you all and doing this. So we are back. Lots of news. The news does not stop for anyone. I did see Biden's speech last night. Actually, it was so late that I tuned in, thank God, literally when it started. I happened to tune into Biden's speech. So I did get to see Biden's speech. Sorry, I'm like adjusting everything as I'm talking to you guys. I'm not at the DNC. No, I was coming to Chicago to see my family. I've been to the Democratic Convention before, which is in Chicago this year. It's really crowded. I've been to 3 of them. New York, Boston, and Denver. And it's fun, but they're so crowded that you can't see anything in a sense. Like, I mean, I could have outreached to Kamala Harris's people to got a little great spot overlooking the thing, but you can't literally see people. You can't talk to people. You can't interview people. It's just kind of anyway, I didn't want to. I've done it 3 times and I found it more trouble than, although being in Chicago is nice because I'm from here, but I'd probably have to stay downtown anyway, which is kind of a pain in the butt. So in any case, it's okay. So I'm watching it from afar. So I will try to watch Obama tonight. What time is it? Prime time? Like 9:00 Eastern? Well, what time do they hold? 10 o'clock? I'm assuming. Thank you for the gifts on TikTok, by the way. But I'm assuming 10 o'clock maybe. So anyway, thank you all. I appreciate the kind words. Let's just get rolling here. So let's start as we do with the politics, the elections, and then we will move over to Ukraine. News about both, which is good. Good news about both, really. Kamala Harris is doing very well in the polls. Thank you, Big Hawk. Thanks, guys, for the gifts on TikTok. Harris is doing still very well in the polls. Now, this has been very interesting because basically you've got and by the way, I was telling folks my camera set up for YouTube. I left the cord I needed home. So I bought one that's coming tomorrow from Apple, I think. And for TikTok, I use my good microphone normally. Again, I bring a microphone with that I totally forgot to bring with. So I bought a new microphone that I'm going to use for TikTok, and at least I'll have a backup mic when I travel. So anyway, so Kamala Harris, yeah. So she's been in the race for 4 weeks now, guys. She's been doing very well. Thank you, Christine. Thank you, Shebug. Thanks for the gifts, guys. She's been doing very well. She is tied with Trump, pretty much tied nationally and tied in the key battleground states, which are the key states that both of them need. That's very interesting. Now, hang on, guys. I'm still trying to adjust my light here. Let me see. No, that's the best it's going to get. Okay, that's all right. What is interesting is she was not, Biden was not doing well. Biden was probably 4 or 5 points behind Trump, nationally and in the key states. Harris is tied. Now, there's one caveat there. The margin of error for these polls is something on the order of like 4 percentage points, which means if Harris is at 44 and Trump is at 40. Statistically, it's a tie because the polls can only be so accurate. And the polls actually have that much wiggle room, which is not good. Having said that, what is interesting, thank you, Marie, for the gift. What is interesting is that Harris has risen in every poll. Biden was behind in almost every key poll of the key states and nationally. Harris has risen about 4 or 5 points, or on average, I'd say 4 or 5 points in all the polls. You know, it's within the margin of error, but let's face it, like every poll was at the bottom of the margin of error for Biden. Harris has now moved up about 4 or 5 points. That's good. I mean, again, I'm not going to claim to be a pollster, but when every single poll of 8 polls shows you jumping 4 or 5 points on average, it suggests you jumped in points, right? But it doesn't mean that Biden isn't going to oh, Mike, I don't have my troll thing. I don't have my troll meter down here. It's in my room. Sorry, I forgot to bring the my troll, my screaming Greek goat. He's upstairs. I do have him upstairs. I don't want to walk away now since I'm live, but I will remember on Thursday to bring him back for you guys. What else was I going to say? Oh, okay. And why we talk about states? I told you guys this before, but it's important to explain this. In America, you don't win presidential elections by winning the national vote. Okay, Hillary Clinton won the national vote. In other words, the total number of votes in the country. Hillary beat Trump by 3 million votes. That was 2 percentage points, which is huge. She lost because she didn't win the right states. You basically, the way it works is, and I'll keep explaining this because I think it's important, and I think we always get new people anyway, especially on TikTok, you get new people all the time. Each state in the US is assigned a certain number of points, electoral votes. Let's call them points. It's like the game of Risk in many ways. Bigger countries on Risk, you get more cards for, right? Smaller countries, you get fewer cards for. It's the same thing. Washington, D.C., 3 points. Alaska, 3 points, at least last time I checked. Pennsylvania, 19 points. And you guys said California, was it 52 or 54? I always forget, and you guys know, how many electoral votes in California? 52 or 54. It always takes a minute, by the way, because TikTok and YouTube, I think, both delay like 5 seconds or something. Basti is saying 54. Okay, 54. There we go. Thanks, Ken Mel. So California is worth 54 points. Huge, right? Alaska's worth 3. Less important. But it gets interesting because you need to win 270 points to become president. So you've got to win the right states. It doesn't, California has 54, but California also has a huge population, right? Thank you, Nicola. You could win California with 70% of the vote, maybe. That gives you a huge number of extra votes. Doesn't matter. California, if you win California with 51% of the vote, you get 54 points. If you win California with 80% of the votes, you get 54 points. That's how, in the end, you could have somebody who has so many votes, but they still lose because they got a lot of the extra votes in states they already won. And you need the votes spread out. Anyway, so bottom line is, when you're looking at presidential elections, looking at presidential polls, you want to look at the key states that both of these candidates need. And as I said, for Biden, we're still thinking of Biden. For Harris and Trump, the key states are Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Nevada, Georgia, Arizona, North Carolina, and then also this one district in Nebraska, because Nebraska kind of breaks their state in parts. So you can win one part of the state and lose the other part of the state. It's crazy. I wish it was one person, one vote. You know, I mean, it is one person, one vote. Titanium was saying it is one person, one vote, but it's a crazy system. You know, the idea that you can win the popularity of the majority of the country and lose the election is insane. And basically the reason is, and Republicans still do this, they like it because they're the ones who win. Twice Republicans have stolen the election, in essence, in the last 20 years. Thank you, Pedro. They like it because they claim, well, small states that don't have many people are underrepresented because their votes don't count. No, your vote counts. There just aren't many of them, right? If you live in a state that nobody wants to live in, then of course there's no votes there, right? I mean, let's pretend everybody leaves the state except one person, hypothetically, right? Everybody leaves Alaska. No offense, Alaska, but I like Alaska. But everyone leaves Alaska except one person. That one person can't complain, well, I represent Alaska. Why am I only one vote? That's not fair. Well, too bad, right? Because everyone left. You have one person, one vote. That's the way it works in this country, unless you're running for president, and then it's a total cluster F. Thank you, Family Labor. Thank you, Denise. So yes, I am in Chicago for a couple of weeks, guys. And the reason we're doing this early tonight is because we're all meeting at my sister's at 6 o'clock for dinner, 6 o'clock Chicago time for dinner. So I wanted to finish the show in time, that I wasn't rushed. So this way I've got a good hour with you guys, maybe longer. And I'm not going to be rushed to go to my sister's. But if I started at the normal time, the show would have literally run into the time we need to go to her place. So that's why we're going early. All right. Any case, so great news for Harris. A little bit more here. So at the Democratic convention last night, Biden spoke. He was good. He was very good. He looked good too, by the way, which is interesting. I mean, lighting, you always see me fiddling with my lighting, right? Lighting is, I mean, and mine today I don't like because of the outside light. I feel like I look pale, but whatever. Lighting matters, especially once you get older. When you're Biden's age, he's like 82 or something, right? He looked amazing last night. They got the makeup right. They got the lighting right. It was sort of the way he didn't look, it was to a loss what he didn't look like in the debates and everything else. He looked amazing last night. Biden went after Trump. He talked about his accomplishments, his administration with Kamala Harris. He went after Trump on January 6th, which I thought was very good and very interesting. Harris has clearly decided that she wants to talk a lot about January 6th. January 6th was the day in 2021 when Trump basically sicked 1,000 of his supporters to try to violently overthrow our government. And they stormed the U.S. Capitol building. They were looking for the vice president, who was Trump's vice president, in order to hang him, they said. It was very scary. Some of them were armed. Some of them were violent. It was actually a lot of them were violent, actually. I love the Republicans like to pretend these guys aren't violent, but of course they were. We all saw the videos, right? I mean, they literally took American flagpoles and beat police officers. They literally had one police officer stuck in a door and tried to jam him. Thank you, Marcy. Jam the door on him to crush him. I mean, these were violent people, obviously. In any case, so Biden went after them on that, which I thought was very interesting. This was interesting. Other speakers reminded the audience of how poorly Trump handled COVID. And I think two different speakers got up and talked about losing family members during COVID because Trump screwed up. And it's interesting, frankly, Democrats should bring it up. I mean, Trump likes to say, are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? People are thinking, yeah, things were so great. No, they weren't so great. 4 years ago, we had COVID. 4 years ago, hundreds of thousands of Americans were dying. 4 years ago, hundreds of thousands of Americans were dying because Donald Trump ignored COVID. Remember, Trump was the one who said you could inject bleach in your veins and cure COVID, or at least it was worth looking into. And my favorite is Republicans go, he didn't say bleach, he said disinfectant. Okay, first problem is, what's the difference? So you're going to put Windex in your arm? Second point, he actually did mean bleach. I didn't learn this until last night. Maybe Washington Post did a fact check of the speech, and they corrected somebody that said Trump, so a speaker said that Trump wanted us to inject bleach for sodium hypochlorite or whatever for curing COVID. And the Washington Post goes, he did not say, that's a lie. He did not say we should inject bleach. He said we should inject disinfectant. And the reason he said it is he had read an article or been briefed by a staffer who said there were studies showing, get this is the Washington Post fact check saying the Democrats lied last night. It wasn't bleach. It was a disinfectant because Trump had read an article saying that something cured COVID. What disinfectant did it say cured COVID? Bleach. He literally was quoting an article that said bleach can cure COVID and used the word disinfectant. And the fact checkers are saying, he didn't mean bleach. He literally meant bleach. So they're reminding people of how crazy he was. The point that matters to me is two things with Trump and COVID. One, he denied it. From the beginning, Trump pretended COVID wasn't a big deal. He said it was going away by Easter. Easter that year was like April of 2020. Totally lied. That was the worst year ever. Actually, that year and the next year, because Trump, of course, handed a COVID disaster off to Biden. So those 2 years were horrific deaths. What's interesting, too, is then you had the vaccine. And I had somebody on Twitter say this to me, like, well, Trump created the vaccine. I mean, Trump didn't create the vaccine, but his administration did, which is good, right? I mean, that's good. Thank you, Rick. Appreciate that. His administration did get this vaccine done in record time. I think that's great. What did Trump and the MAGA Republicans do after Trump created the COVID vaccine? You all know. They told everybody it was dangerous and didn't work. They did it too quickly. It wasn't new technology. Technology has been around for like 20 years. It's new technology. It's dangerous. It doesn't work. They said the vaccine will cure you. It doesn't cure you. Remember? The vaccine was supposed to basically make your illness be less. It was supposed to hopefully help you stay out of the hospital. And the Republicans lied and said, they said it cures you. It doesn't cure you, right? It doesn't prevent COVID. It doesn't work. So we're supposed to give Trump credit for creating a vaccine that all of his people went and told you didn't work and you shouldn't take it. And it's dangerous. So I don't call that giving credit, personally. A little more here. Let me see here. All right, I'm skipping. I mean, sort of favorability polls. I will say this. Kamala Harris, this was actually very interesting, too. Associated Press. Kamala Harris is, where is this real quick? Favorability. Hang on. Here we go. About half of U.S. adults, 48%, have a very or somewhat favorable view of Harris, according to a new AP poll, the Associated Press. She's at 48% thank you, Norway. She's at 48% very or somewhat favorable view of her. Trump is at 41%. Trump's at 41%. She's at 48%. That's a huge difference, right? The Associated Press put it out there and said something to the effect of somewhat better. Harris's numbers were somewhat better than Trump's. She's at 48. He's at 41, guys. 7-point difference is not somewhat better. That's a lot better. I mean, it's a huge better. But this is what the media plays these sort of games with us, sadly. I think they're trying to sort of make this, thank you, Tari. They're trying to sort of make this horse race kind of thing. Like they feel bad because they've so criticized Trump over the years. And, when a guy's a serial sexual assaulter who tries to violently overthrow the government, you kind of have to criticize him. But they literally feel guilty. You think, well, we criticized Trump. We criticized Hitler a lot. Let's make sure we criticize the Social Democrats just as much, or whoever the parties were back then, right? And it's like, no, that's not fair. Fairness is not criticizing both sides equally. Fairness is holding both sides to the same standard of criticism, right? If you're going to attack people for being anti-democracy, attack them equally. If you're going to attack them for being sexual assaulters, attack them equally, right? If you're going to attack them for trying to violently overthrow the government and promoting violence and endorsing violence and speaking about violence, then attack them equally. But it's not, Mussolini did a lot of bad things and we criticize him, so let's criticize Mussolini's opposition just as much because that would be fair. It doesn't really work that way. Or serial killers. We write a lot about serial killers being bad. Maybe we should write about grandmas being bad too, just to be fair. Anyway. All right, a little bit more here. The coup. So Republicans, this is actually very scary, guys. Republicans are on a tear, accusing Democrats of having a coup d'etat, right? We violently overthrew the government to make Biden step down. Not what happened, by the way. The process of Biden, a lot of Democrats put pressure on him. That's allowed in a democracy. There were no protests in the street, right? I mean, a lot of people put pressure and said, you know what? You screwed up that debate. You can't win this. If we need to beat this guy, you need to step down. And he did. He chose to step down. In a democracy, thank you, Pam, candidates are allowed to step down. That's why you don't have the vote until the convention, because you don't know who's going to be the candidate. The Democratic convention is this. The Democrats still, now we have a candidate. Democrats actually now have a candidate because they held the vote by phone like 2 weeks ago. Normally, you wouldn't have even had a candidate until this week, until Thursday. So Biden was not the candidate. Biden was the presumptive candidate, the expected candidate. The reason Republicans keep saying there was a coup, and by the way, Republicans have been demanding for how long that Biden step down, right? I mean, years that Republicans have been saying he's senile. He can't be president. He should not be running again. He shouldn't even be president today. So Republicans demanded that Biden step down, and he did. And now they're criticizing Democrats for Biden stepping down. Whatever. What bothers me about this is knowing Trump and knowing Republicans. The reason they're accusing Democrats of a coup is because they're planning one. This is what they do. This is what Trump did going into the election. Remember, Trump also kept talking about the unfairness, whatever. They are, at this point, they're talking about it because when Kamala Harris wins the election, if she does, Republicans want to be able to say she wasn't a legitimate candidate. The Democrats held a coup. Biden was supposed to be the candidate. And if Biden was the candidate, Trump would have won. So Trump is the legitimate winner. Right? Democrats had a coup, and that's how they won. So a coup won. They are preparing to not recognize her as president. They would do this in a number of Republican states. They could also do it in Washington, D.C., in the Congress, because the Congress has to certify on January 6th. Thus, the reason the Republicans tried to violently overthrow Congress on January 6th. They wanted to stop them from certifying the election. This is really scary, guys. This is what they're planning on doing. I mean, and the funny part, I mean, not just me, like one of the Dana Bash on CNN was talking about this the other day too. Like I heard the quote from, I think this time it was from Trump, and Trump was talking about, again, 3-4 days ago, they had a coup. And I heard Trump say it, and I thought he's saying this because he's planning on one. And she said right after me, she goes, what worries me is I feel like he's channeling his own thoughts, that he's talking about what he's planning on doing. It's incredibly scary. Now, hopefully the U.S. Army wouldn't allow it. The good thing is, well, here's the thing. The good thing is the president of the United States is Joe Biden. So that's good. He stops. Here's the problem. Biden stops being the president on January 20th. Under the Constitution, his presidency is over January 20th at noon. Who's the new, actually, January 20th or 21st? I'm screwing this up, guys. 20th or 21st? I think it's the 20th. I'm already forgetting now. I think it's the 20th. What's the, thank you, Jorge, for the gift, by the way. What happens if Republicans refuse, 20th, thank you, Gunther, I thought it was. What happens if Republicans refuse to certify Kamala Harris as the president and Biden's presidency expires on the 20th and they just refuse? I mean, who knows? Again, the states can screw around. Republicans have passed some laws, I think in Arizona, maybe some of the other states. They've passed laws now empowering local precincts to not report their votes. Previously, they had to report their vote counts. They're allowing in Republican states, a number of them, the local vote counters, who are Republican, of course, in the districts, if you think you don't trust these numbers, you don't have to report them. So Kamala Harris literally can't win the state because the votes won't be in. The votes won't be reported. It is so screwed up. It is so screwed up. Very scary stuff. Thank you, Sunshine. Well, it may not be legal. The problem is the concern here. It's funny. Thank you, Sunshine. I had looked into this like in depth before the 2020 election. Actually, I need to get my friend on here. My friend Mike is sort of an expert on this at the Center for American Progress. Thank you, Sunshine. And he and I were going through a lot of this before the election, and after the election, about what Trump could do. And at the time, this was interesting. At the time, Mike, but also anybody talking about this, got so much criticism. Thank you, Sunshine, because he was talking about the possibility of Republicans refusing to certify the election. And everyone said, oh, that's so stupid. That's so silly, you crazy conspiracy people. And then what do the Republicans do? Trump tried in multiple ways to stop states from certifying the election, right? He phoned them and tried to pressure them to find 11,000 votes. He did fake electors. He wanted states, because states have to report their election results to Washington, each state. He wanted them to report basically fake election results to Washington. Why do this? Because you'd think, as somebody just said on TikTok, it's illegal. Here's the problem. In order to prove it's illegal, you've got to go to court. You'd have to sue them. Okay? Let's say the Kamala Harris campaign sues and they go to court and say Republicans can't stop. Well, a conservative Supreme Court says, actually, elections are left up to the states in America. Election law is state-based. Each state has its own rules. So if this state says, first problem, if this state says these are their rules and they don't have to report the vote, that's what their rules are. We can't get involved. We're Republicans, right? Second problem, if this goes to the Congress and the Congress starts playing games and the Congress starts saying, well, we can't certify Kamala Harris because we don't trust the vote, what they wanted Mike Pence to do. They wanted Mike Pence, our vice president under Trump, the Republican. They wanted him to literally just refuse on January 6th, which is the day that Congress certifies the election. They wanted him to literally refuse to certify and say, well, we just don't trust these votes. You'd have to sue. She would have to sue Mike Pence and the Congress. They go to court, and there is a very decent chance that the Supreme Court would say, because it's a Republican, it's a very Republican, it's a Donald Trump Supreme Court. There is a very decent chance the Supreme Court would say, well, Congress, under the Constitution, Congress decides who's the president by certifying the vote. We can't tell Congress what to do, right? That's their job. Like, it's literally under the Constitution, Congress's job to decide if they do or don't believe these votes are valid. We, the Supreme Court, cannot tell them otherwise. We don't have jurisdiction. it's a political, and because it's a political question, that's the other thing. Not just it's in the Constitution, but this is politics. We don't get involved in politics. So there, and this was Mike was saying this, and again, we were all talking about it, and then the Republicans tried it. It is certainly plausible. I think it's possibly even likely that the Supreme Court would say we're not getting involved. You wouldn't even get involved. So very interesting. Anyway, we do have screwy laws. We have and of course the Republicans have unfortunately played it and made it even worse. They did decide Bush v. Gore because that's what Republicans do, and Democrats were being nice. But now it's a Republican Supreme Court. So we'll see. All right. Let me give you some Ukraine update now. So Ukraine, oh, I do have my map. Ukraine has been beating the crap out of the Russians. We have the red version of the map since I'm in Chicago, our wonderful t-shirt map. So you all recall that Ukraine and Russia have been fighting. Russia basically occupies this part of Ukraine, like 18% of Ukraine, okay? So all of this. So the fighting has been going on, especially around here and here. There's been a lot of fighting going on between the Russians and the Ukrainians. So what did the Ukrainians do? They decided to invade Russia all the way up here. And it worked. And they took a lot of Russian land. I mean, not a huge amount, but a good amount of Russian land. The Russians are pissed. Where it goes from, I'm going to read you sort of some of the details here. Excuse me. But what's interesting is, oh, did I not flip the camera? It's been several days, guys. There we go. Okay. I'm going to show the map one more time for TikTok because I did not flip my camera or my flip. Yep. All right. Sorry. There you go, TikTok. So this is the area Russia's occupying. Therefore, a lot of fighting is going on here. Okay. So Ukraine decides to invade all the way up here where the Russians weren't expecting it. I think there's a what's his face? God, I'm tired, guys. I'm just very tired. Chinese war philosopher Sun Tzu. What's the name? Oh, I'm forgetting his name. Who help me here? You know who I mean? From forever ago, thousands of years ago, the art of war, I believe it's called. Give me a name. Sun Tzu. It is Sun Tzu. Okay. Or Sun Yu, depending how you pronounce it, I guess. Yeah. In English, we think Tzu because it's TSU or TZU. And he had, now I almost don't want to quote this because he might have meant something different, but he had some kind of quote about fight where your enemy isn't, or something like that. But I don't know that this is necessarily what he meant. But nonetheless, that's what the Ukrainians are doing. Now, why? There's a lot of fights going on in the east. Ukraine is losing some territory in the east. There's some concern about that. The Russians may be about to take some important villages that are small, but they're important vantage points for taking other villages that are huge. Okay, so that's a big deal. The good side of this is this threatens Putin a lot. If the Ukrainians are able to, that's the bee sting. Who's that from? Pam Pam. Thank you, Pam Pam. And I didn't give my usual pitch today, but please feel free to give the gifts, guys. I do this for a living. I do it for free. I do it every day, normally Monday to Friday. Tomorrow I'm not because of the family stuff we're doing. But the rest of the week I'll be here. And so please give the gifts. They help support my work because I do this full time. And memberships are good too. Actually, let me look really quick. I've got 4 memberships, by the way, that supposedly I can give, subscription memberships, that supposedly I can give. And I don't know, let me look here and see. Okay, now the memberships basically give you some emojis on both of the services, give you some emojis you can use. Also, the most important is I do a Saturday show, which we'll do this week. I'm going to try to do one on Saturday. I couldn't do it last weekend. But thank you, Annie. I was going to say thank you, Meerkat. Thank you, Annie. We do a show every Saturday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, almost every Saturday morning, just for the paid subscribers. During the week, I normally do election shows. Again, this is a very bad week. So I may not be doing election shows this week because we're doing a ridiculous amount of family stuff. But normally you always get the Saturday show, and with the election, I started doing shows in the morning too that were only for the paid subscribers. Now, let me see really quick. Okay, I've got 4 of those. Okay, Xavier, you hit it up first. I'm going to look and see if it lets me do this. Now, actually, let me see your full name, Xavier. Wait, where is this? Xavier, but what is, there it is. Xavier Garrett, 78. Okay, let me see if I can, I'm going to see if I can do this. Xavier Garrett, 78. Let's see here, specific users. Specific users. Now, the problem is They're not going, God damn, they're doing this again. They're not letting me pick. They're only letting me pick top gifters. Yeah. Or my friends. I don't think it's going to let me. Oh no, it's not. It's not. Nope. Yeah. I mean, I can pick random people. I don't know if any of you want it, but it's not letting me otherwise, you know, I mean, well, you know what? I'll pick the top gifters. Why not? Because you guys have been the most generous. I'm just going to pick the top four. Randy, Terrence, two at Cracker, and Moses. Although I don't know if you're here today, but you're the top gifters. So of the last week or so, I'm going to guess, or last 2 weeks. So let me try that and let's see what happens. Okay, it shouldn't be the total. What do you mean total? Okay, I'm afraid of doing this because now it's saying $27. They're free. What do you mean $27? TikTok, I hate you. You have 4 subscription presents from TikTok. They'll be deducted first when you check out. Okay, I'm afraid to do this now because they're going to charge me $30 if I do this. Okay, TikTok, I hate you. Can I say, I've said this before. TikTok, sorry guys, TikTok does such a poor job. Their engineers are not good. Every time I read something on TikTok, it's as if somebody translated it from Chinese. I kid you not. Now, other people can give subscriptions. So anybody who might want one, feel free to say you'd like one because there's always a chance. Oh, Xavier, somebody got it for you anyway. There you go. Okay, thank you, whoever helped Xavier there. I appreciate that. Blue, thank you, Blue. It's really annoying because every time something on TikTok, like special offers, they've got all this kind of stuff. I try to do, thank you, Cuevas, thank you, Sunshine. I can never understand their description. Like, oh, we're doing a special blah, blah. And they describe it. And I go, what does that even mean? Supposedly, TikTok gave me 4 free subscriptions for 1 month to give you guys. I then pick you, and it shows me on the bottom that they're going to charge me $27. And I'm like, what is that? Maybe they won't charge me, but why say you're charging me you know what I mean? Like TikTok. Anyway, TikTok drives me a little crazy. All right, thank you guys. Whoever is throwing out more subscriptions there, thank you. Solnichka, Mike, and Sharma. Oh boy, Sharmaki, maybe. You all got subscriptions. We're doing Ukraine now. We're talking subscription. Then people started giving them, so I started talking about it. Blue Ariel. Oh, thank you, Blue Ariel. You are always so generous. Thank you for that. All right. Bingo, Mike. Mikey, I don't know if it's telling me what it would cost. Oh, that's cute. The drink. I think it's the light bulb. I hadn't seen either. Pam with the coffee maker. And then who was the drink? Wait, who was the drink from? Oh, no, the drink. That was the drink. Who was the thing over my head? Pam was the coffee maker. Okay, this is what it's doing that again. Whoever did the light bulb over my head, it's not showing me. If anybody knows who it was, let me know. I'd like to thank you, but I did see it, so thank you. I don't know. Okay, thank you. Whoever did that little light bulb, it was cute. All right, well, we'll continue with the Dawn. Oh, Dawn gifted us up. Thank you, Dawn. You've been very generous too. Appreciate it, guys. All right, I'll let you guys continue to gift subs if folks want them and you're feeling like it. So let me go on here with Ukraine. So Ukraine invades Russia. Now, thank you, Cuevas. We are still worried about Russia doing well in the east of Ukraine. Thank you, Sunshine. And they are taking more cities, as I said, or more towns, but some of the towns are strategically very important. So that's a concern. What is interesting is, though, Ukraine has now taken a chunk of Russia. Russia has had to evacuate anywhere from 120,000 to 200,000 people from the region because Ukraine invaded and is holding Russian land. That's very embarrassing for Putin. It's the first invasion of Russia since World War II. The Nazis invaded in World War II. No one's invaded since. Ukraine invaded. Ukraine is actually hanging on to land. Very embarrassing, right? The embarrassment puts Putin's power at risk. It doesn't mean he's going to get overthrown, but it makes him look like a very weak leader. Keep in mind, he had the coup last summer. So remember, a year ago, Prigozhin tried to overthrow the government and actually did a really good job of almost doing it. And this year, you've got Putin, losing Kursk, at least part of this territory. A little more here. The Ukrainian forces have advanced 28 to 35 kilometers or 18 to 21 miles inside Russia. They've taken 93 settlements, so 93 villages and towns and stuff. The Ukraine had previously claimed to have captured 1,250 square kilometers or 480 square miles. Thank you, Flower Lady. If anybody is up on square miles or square kilometers, I never quite understand square miles and square kilometers. It doesn't like feet. I can figure, although I guess 480 square kilometers would be 20 some miles by 20 miles, right? Because that would be 400. So maybe if I'm correct, that's the way you'd look at it, I guess. Ukraine is still making marginal advances, according to the Institute for the Study of War, which is interesting, meaning the Russians have been pushing back. Ukraine is advancing less quickly now, but they're still advancing day by day, which is interesting. Russia tried to build some new pontoons. Ukraine's been blowing up bridges now. Their new strategy is to blow up bridges in that region of Kursk in order to stop the Russians from reinforcing and stop the Russians from actually fighting back and taking the land back. The Russians tried building 2 pontoon bridges, like floating bridges. And the satellite, all we know is the satellite photos the next day showed one bridge gone and a puff of smoke. So we think the Ukrainians blew up one of the bridges, which is great. They were doing this at the beginning of the war to the Russians, blowing up so many of the Russian bridges. Sky News. Professor Michael Clark at Sky News, who's a very good defense analyst, he said that Ukraine has a wide open opportunity to seize more Russian territory in the Kursk invasion, but risks Moscow making more gains inside Ukraine. He means that basically Ukraine can get, I'm going to read you some more quotes from him. Ukraine can actually get a lot more land, but they're in danger of losing more land in the east of their own land. But having said, here's the question, though, which gets interesting. You don't want to lose your land, right, if you're Ukraine. But if you're able to hold Russian land, that's kind of a disaster for Russia. Thank you, Sean. Right? Up until now, what leverage does Ukraine have in any kind of a peace negotiation to get Ukraine what leverage does Ukraine have in a peace negotiation to get Russia to give up the 18% of Ukraine's land that Russia stole? None. If Ukraine occupies part of Russia, they've got every incentive on the planet, right? Just say, we're not leaving, right? Now, so therefore you get into an interesting question. Does it make sense for Ukraine to let the Russians take a little more of Ukraine's land and Ukraine taste a little more of Russia's? Or should Ukraine not be doing this at all and trying to push the Russians back? At this point, if you're Ukraine, I mean, to me, it's an interesting argument because I think for most of us, I am not sure how Ukraine gets its land back militarily, right? I think the Russians are dug in. I'm just not sure. I think if Ukraine's holding on to Russian territory, you're going to get a lot of land back. Now, can Ukraine hold on to the territory? Who knows, right? Thank you, Sean. They're holding on to it now, which is good. So a little more from Michael Clark, the professor at Sky News. After a fairly static period, meaning not much was moving, Professor Clark said the war in Ukraine has entered a new stage of dynamism on the back of the Kursk invasion. I think this Kursk attack might get quite big quite quickly because the area to the west is almost wide open to the Ukrainians now that they've taken down the bridges off the Sem River. I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Ukrainians go westward. So he thinks that, thank you, Cheryl, for gifting there, the sub. He thinks that the Ukrainians could make some real progress taking additional land near in the Kursk, the region there. Am I saying this? The Ukrainians could make real progress taking Russian land. I always get the two screwed up. So let's see, but I am kind of intrigued because I think the defense experts are still trying to figure out, does it make sense for Ukraine to do this? But it's interesting because if they can hold the land, it's a hell of a lot of leverage, Anyway. All right, a little more here. Thank you, Andre. Appreciate it. A few more. A fire continues to rage on the third day after the Ukrainians hit a Russian oil depot with a drone attack. I mean, the pictures and video, a huge fire. I mean, the Ukrainians basically, obviously oil is pretty flammable. The Ukrainians got it just right with this drone, and this has been a huge oil fire going on for 3 days now. Thank you, Eli. Thank you, Tarad. So that's good news. Germany will deliver 4 more Iris-T air defense systems to Ukraine before the end of the year. Czech Republic is going to use frozen Russian assets profits to fund more ammunition for Ukraine. The country's defense minister said the move will let them buy hundreds of thousands of much-needed large caliber ammunition. That's huge. And finally, this one cracked me up. The Russians are, as part of their propaganda war with the West, the Russians decide they're going to screw with us by letting Americans move to Russia. Because, as I've said, who isn't tired of indoor plumbing? Who isn't tired of teeth? Right. Let's go to Russia. Like, what? One of the most, I'm sorry, but it is a very backward country. It's a very poor country. They don't have indoor plumbing, guys. I mean, 99% of American households have indoor plumbing. In Russia, 25%, 25% do not. Meaning you've got to go to an outhouse out back. 25% have a a shithole behind, literally a shithole behind their house. I mean, it's ridiculous. So anyway, Putin is allowing foreigners to apply for Russian temporary residence on moral grounds. So if you morally object, he means the West, if you morally object to your governments, you can come to Russia where you'll be welcome. I mean, it's pretty funny though. I mean, because you're an idiot if you go to Russia. Again, it is a very poor country. It is a dictatorship. That's kind of a problem. As I said, they don't have toilets. Like a quarter of the houses don't have toilets. It's a lot of problems. The culture really hasn't advanced in 150 years. I mean, during the Soviet years, the great Russian literature is pre-Soviet. So you're talking 150 years ago, right? Or 125 years ago. Oh, well, no, I'm sorry. It's 105 years ago, 106 years ago. Because it was, okay, let's be precise, 107 years ago, 1917. So you got to go back over 107 years, more or less, to find like famous Russian writers, other than the ones who were writing about how horrible the Soviet Union was, like Solzhenitsyn and other people who were Russian dissidents who were writing about the fact that their government was a dictatorship. Okay, that was good culture. Whatever. You know what I'm talking about. The Soviets had some good culture, but they basically had to threaten to kill people in order to do it. And they also gave them a lot of steroids, like all the athletes and stuff. And they're still doing that. But otherwise, as I've said, like, what art comes out of Russia nowadays? What literature comes out of Russia? What movies, right? No one goes to one. I mean, Russian movies, maybe once every few years, there's a movie that someone talks about, right? Nobody goes see, right? Western movies, French, American, British, others, I'm sure, right? I mean, huge. Italian even. I say even because like in America, we tend not to watch foreign language video or movies that much. But food, right? I mean, I think of, again, American culture, we dominate the world for better or worse. British culture, very outsized influence considering how small the country is. And you've got other countries, and China's having more, has an influence in Asia. Russia, I mean, I guess they've got influence in Azerbaijan. Good for you. So anyway, Russian architecture is called brutalism. Yeah, defenestration, exactly. That's the culture of Russia. Anyway, all right, so that's it for the news, guys. Let's hang out and talk. Oh, I'm getting a little bit of a caffeine headache. I'm like, I make different coffee here than I do in DC. And I'm like, just kind of, I hate that because you don't know until this time of the day whether the caffeine's off a little, and all of a sudden it's like, so I may make a little bit of coffee when I'm done with you guys, even though I don't want to drink too late. Anyway, all right, guys, let's hang and chat a little bit. I think I'm going to try to finish this maybe in the next 13, by the half hour. I need a little bit of coffee. Yeah. I watched I was with my sister and everybody else. So I watched Biden's speech. I did see that. I would have loved to seen Hillary. Thank you, Tari. I'm good. I would have loved to seen Hillary. I missed it. I'm hoping to see Obama tonight, but we're going to my sister's for dinner with the whole family. So, by the time Obama's on, okay. What's the plan for Obama? Is it 10%? 10%. Is it probably 9 o'clock, or it might even be 10 o'clock Chicago time? That's true. I could record it if I can figure out how to do that on Mom's machine. I can't because I'm going to be at my sister's house tonight. But Hillary, I assume, was awesome. I like Hillary. And the thing too is, like, Hillary's a bad speaker unless she's not. When she's a good speaker, she's a great speaker. Obama, always a great speaker, right? 9:45. That's what they're saying. Okay, Darren, interesting. Okay. Well, I'll be home by 9:45 most likely, so that's good. But yeah, I watched Biden. I didn't watch all of it, but I watched half of it or 2/3 of it. It was very good. But yes, it's Central Time, so it's a little earlier, which is good. I'm just a little tired. And my dog lately has decided she's going to wake me up every morning at 8:30, like 7:30 or 8:30, and that's it. And I try to tell her no, but like, you're telling her no right after she woke you up, which of course is only making you more mad. So, and I only say 8:30 because if I go to bed too late, I'm just very tired. But anyway, because she wakes me up normally like 7:30, which is really annoying. But what do you do? It's okay. I know she's cute. I may not be passing out by 9:30, but the funny thing is, of course, she has to wake me up. And then we did go to the park today, but the day then she sits here and just sleeps all day. I'll show you just because it is very cute. So this is Sasha right now. Oops. What's it doing? Hang on. Oops. Let me flip it. It's flipping on you. Boom. There we go. All right. Yeah. So this is Sasha right now. She's in the big bed beneath my chair, which is very cute. So this is the live view, so to speak, of Sasha right now. And then the other, which I just think was cute, she was lying on the bed, kind of looking at me. She during the day, which cracks me up sometimes, she just goes up to the bedroom and sleeps on the bed while I'm down here, which always cracks me up because usually she's attached to my hip. But this was her earlier today. She just decided, she decides she needs a break and she goes upstairs, and it's the funniest damn thing. It's just very cute. Yep. So anyway, first debate is September 10th. I am 99% sure, Pedro. So that's not for a month. Well, 3 weeks now. Yeah, 3 weeks. Well, yeah, 20, yeah, probably exactly 3 weeks, actually. It was, I told you, Ash, you didn't see on Discord. I told you it was fabulous. Thank you. Yeah, no, I put up the picture on Discord. Didn't you see? I put in the mod chat, and I was surprised. I'm in the house I grew in most of the up of the time. I'm in the house I grew up in from age 8 onwards. Before that, I lived in a southern suburb. We're in the sort of the west suburbs. This was southern suburb of Chicago. Well, I mean, you know what? It's Amanda. I'm almost trying to avoid explaining to everybody is the only reason, because some people, I just don't want to keep getting into it. That's the only reason. They're really pretty. But I just don't want to get into explaining again to everybody. I mean, which is very sweet, but I just hate having that conversation. I grew up in Chicago suburbs. Yeah. Oh, hey, Darren. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Anyway, so what else, guys? What else? But yes, I would have gone to the Democratic convention. I've just been to 3 of them, and they're very busy. And it's kind of a bitch because actually I wouldn't have found a hotel in Chicago anyway. I probably would have had to commute every day anyway, which is okay, but I would have commuted like an hour from out here in the suburbs to the convention center. It's like, I wasn't offered, no, but I could have asked. I'm still trying to convince these presidential campaigns and other Democrats that having 650,000 followers on TikTok is maybe interesting to them, but good luck getting a Democrat to understand, an opportunity. So, but I'm sure I could have approached them, but I just didn't want to. I've done it. It's too many people. It's too hard, And again, I would have had to commute from here an hour there and an hour back because you also can never stay at home. I mean, good luck staying at home. First of all, staying at hotels is a lot of money, but you also can't stay at hotels, I mean, the hotel literally could be this far out. It was in Denver. In Denver, the hotel was 15 miles from Denver on the highway, something crazy. It's a ton of people. Yeah. Anyways, I'm trying to think how many people will be attending the Democratic convention in Chicago. Okay. It doesn't want to tell me. It wants me to click and see. 50,000 people are expected to attend. Yeah, that's what I thought. Well, no, 50,000, but could be more nearby. It's a huge amount huge amount. I haven't been. Yeah, Mardi Gras. I've never been to that. It's honestly, it's just too many people. Also, I remember this too. You could wait an hour to get in line, which is not fun either. Once you're in, it's fine, but it's just not easy. And it's so big that you don't really get to see or interview people. I don't know if we ever saw anybody like senators or anything, I mean, it's just very hard. But I mean, it looks good, the problem is, and I probably should do this, I'm not really somebody to do stuff because it looks good, but it would look good, reporting from the Democratic convention, look below me. People would be like, oh my God, you're so important, but but literally I would learn nothing being there. That you wouldn't know anyway from watching on TV. So I kind of feel like, is it worth the trouble? Anyway. Hello, Carrie. Hey, Carrie. Anyway, let's do a couple more minutes, guys. And I'm going to go. Like I said, we've got dinner at my sister's tonight. So I'm trying to just chill a little before. And the dog wakes me up early. So I'm exhausted. Yeah, the energy is great, though. I actually went to the one good thing. The Democratic convention in Boston in 2008. wait, 2004. Yes, 2004 Democratic Convention. I got to see Obama speak, and he was the little known Illinois. I don't know if he was a state. Was Obama already a senator in 2004, or was he only a senator for 2 years, or was he still a state senator at that point? But he was new and young, and everybody was like, oh my God, state. So he was only a state senator, but he was the fresh new, oh my God. And I got tickets, and he was good. I mean, he was good. We watched him. We were like, this guy's good. Obama was kind of fun too, because like I got the final night of the election in 2008, the Obama campaign. Well, this was invited me to basically come with a bunch of other like bloggers to cover the campaign out in Virginia. And it was really cool. I got some great pictures of him because it was a small-ish event, like a few thousand people. So I was very close, like the area we were allowed to be in. I got great pictures of Obama profiles and stuff, but it was so crowded. It finished at maybe 11 o'clock at night. It took us 4 or 5 hours to get home. And we only lived like 45 minutes to an hour away. And it took us literally 4 or 5 hours. So I was like, ugh. I'm not sure, I'm not sure I'm up for that too, but I'd love to see Kamala, but yeah, so the volume is not as good tonight on either device because I'm in Chicago, and like an idiot, I forgot my cords. I brought this microphone I use, whatever. I forgot the good little microphone I use for you guys on TikTok. I forgot. And you guys, I forgot an adapter I use for the microphone. So Apple is sending me the adapter for you guys tomorrow. And for you guys, the same thing. Tomorrow, I've got some new, portable microphones, wireless ones that you basically put on your lapel and then plug it into the machine. So you should have a good mic on I'm not doing a show tomorrow, but I will do a show on Thursday. You'll have a good mic on Thursday. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Interstellar. Thank you, Jeremy. But yeah, I totally spaced on it. I was so pissed off today because I was like, I finally did a TikTok video. I was getting ready for tonight. I was like, oh my God, I didn't bring the stuff for the microphones. You're like idiot. Oh, that's interesting. Mike says a powerful explosion thundered in Novoshachtinsk. There we go. In the Rostov region of Russia, there's an oil refinery there. Cause is unknown. Ooh, that's fun. That's fun. It's a good question, Tired Guy. I don't know why the convention's in Illinois. That's a really good question. I don't know, because you're right. She's going to win Illinois. I don't know why. I hadn't thought about it, but it's a good point. So yeah, I don't know. That's a really good question though. No, they might think being in Illinois, I don't know. Does it help you with, Michigan and Ohio, or Michigan and, Minnesota, or Wisconsin? I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, we are close to Wisconsin. So I'm in Chicago right now. We're not far from Wisconsin. So maybe you get more coverage that way. Thank you, M. Fuller. But that's my only thought. Oh, is the wall lamp crooked? I hate that stuff. I hate that. Hold on. Yeah, there you go. I mean, it's as good as it's going to get because it's also an old lampshade. Well, it's better. Good point, though. It's as good as it's going to get, but I'm usually the one that notices those things. Like the lampshade it's actually not as crooked as it looks now. Now you're getting a little more of, it's a little crooked, but it's better than it was. It's better than it was. Anyway. All right. What else, guys? Actually, you know what? We're on 2 minutes. We got 2 minutes left. Let's hang another 2, and then we'll go. Pictures I'm good at. That thing is crooked a little bit. But pictures, I'm very good at adjusting and getting them just right. Like pictures actually drives me a little crazy because I will look at like paintings and things and it's crooked. No, it's not. I'm like, it's crooked. It goes a little this way. No, it's not. And then you get out the level and I'm right. And I don't know what it is. I don't have a good design eye. Like I can't look at a wall and go, oh, it needs these 3 things in a table. That's not me. But my eye is very good at spotting things that are off a little bit. And I have no idea why. Anyway, the polls are looking good, Tay. Basically, she's tied nationally and she's tied in the key battleground states. So she's tied in the key states she needs. And I've always explained to you guys, I did at the beginning of the show, how in America you win elections by winning key states. You have to have 270 electoral votes. Each state has a different number of electoral votes assigned to it. So you need to win a certain number of states to become the winner. And in the battleground states, which are those states that she and Trump are fighting for, the key like 8 states, they're tied. Statistically, they're tied. She's ahead in some, he's ahead in others, and they're tied. So, so she's tied nationally and tied in the important states, which is great, you know. But you had a tie doesn't mean you win. And Trump, I think it was Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, back in 2016, the polls underestimated his support by 9 percentage points. I mean, that's like saying Trump's at 40, but he's really at 49, right? In 2020, the polls misrepresented Trump's support by 5 percentage points, meaning Trump was actually 5 percentage points more popular in the key states of Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania than the polls showed. So they show Kamala Harris tied. Is she tied, or is Trump 5 points ahead? That's the concern people have, right? So obvious, but I would also say if you're tied, it doesn't mean you're winning, right? Oh, here we go. Gunther checked. CBS reports that Chicago was chosen because the Dems wanted it to be a part of the blue wall in Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan, and the Midwest. Yeah, but I don't know what that means, Gunther. You know what I mean? Like, why? Illinois is already going to win. They must think that's bad journalism, I will say, because that's giving an answer that isn't an answer. You're like, what do you mean? Yeah, like Illinois, she's already going to win Illinois. Do they mean they think that just having it here gives you more press coverage locally? Maybe. That helps you with Wisconsin? Maybe. You know? I mean, I'm gonna guess the Wisconsin press probably does cover a lot of Chicago. Thank you, Tom, for the subscription, or for subscribing, or whoever gave Tom the subscription. I'm gonna guess that Wisconsin covers a lot of Chicago news, so that the convention being in Chicago, they may actually send some of their reporters and write it. It just may be a little more coverage in Wisconsin, which may help, you know, win the state. That's my guess. She's literally in Wisconsin now. Oh, is she? Oh, that's interesting. Well, I guess why not? Because she's not really supposed to. She appeared last night briefly. She's not supposed to appear. Oh, that was Blue. Thank you, Blue Ariel. She's not supposed to appear until Thursday night. So she has nothing to do. I'm going to guess all day long she's probably having to schmooze all the right people, right? All the possible, like, you know, business leaders and union leaders and civil rights leaders. And this is probably, my guess is she's busy all day, but this allows her to bop up to Wisconsin for an event. You know, it's an hour and a half drive and then come back. So that's interesting. That's probably exactly, yep. And go get cheese curds. Exactly, Russell. I've never had cheese curds, actually. All right, go check BBC, and then I'm gonna hang up on you guys. Our sub hero, that's very funny. That's he is, and actually, well, several of you. Dawn does several. I'm trying to remember who some of the other ones were that do a lot of them. I don't want to like start naming people and then forget. But there's several of you guys who have done a number of the subscriptions, and actually a lot of you on TikTok. I mean, on YouTube. Jens has done a lot on YouTube. I don't want to name names because, guys, I'm out of it today. I'm forgetting some of the rest of you, but we've had a lot of YouTubers who have bought gift subscriptions for folks as well. All right, guys, another minute or two. If anybody wants to give Deb a subscription, she'd like one, and it's a little pricey for her. So if you can help out, that'd be lovely. Blue Ariel might be a she. I always assumed a he. I don't know why. I don't know the. Thanks, John. I don't know the. You know. The gender is terrible sometimes when I can't figure out who's who. It's always a surprise. I'm like, oh. Also, because your pictures are small. So like, oh, thank you, Ginger. Oh, that's funny. I haven't seen that one before. That's very cute. You're a she. There. See, I always thought Blue Ariel was a guy just cause. But also, I can't see people's photos at all. So like, Blue Sky, I can tell you're a woman. I'm saying that. And watch me be wrong. YouTube, they're too small. So literally, I can't see anybody's. Like Gunther, I can't even tell if that's a headshot. It's just all of them are too small. TikTok, well, Colin, you're too small as well. I can't tell if you're a man or, and the way it's spelled, like Colin, I would think would be a guy. Collan makes me Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman. Yeah, it can be hard. Anyway, Oh, did you, Blue Ariel? Did you just do that? Thank you, Blue Ariel. Thank you for that. That was sweet of you. Oops. It's making me prove I'm real. There we go. It knows I'm real. Oh, that's nice. Good. Excellent. Excellent. All right. Well, now that we got Deb her gift membership, my work is done. Um, E for her. I don't even remember because I studied Russian, but I don't even remember now the articles. Oh boy. Oh, good job, Deb. All right, guys. Thank you, Marcy. Thank you, Timothy. All right, guys. I'm gonna go. We've got a family dinner tonight. I've got to get ready for. But and I'm gonna make some coffee. I'm so freaking tired. But thank you all. I appreciate all the kind words and all the kind gifts as well, and also the gift memberships that you did for other people, which is very sweet of you. So thank you all as well. I'm not going to be here tomorrow, but I will be here Thursday and Friday and probably Saturday morning as well. And the usual, other than tomorrow, the usual hangouts. So, all right, guys. All right, thanks, Deb. I appreciate that. All right, guys, and thank you, Alan, for the gift. All right, I'm going to sign off, guys. All right, see you Thursday. All right, see you, TikTok.